Where am I? I'm at Stansted Airport, not at work. Just about to jump onto an airplane and go to Ireland. I am on a mission to go and see Mark Gash and all of the Sidecar fraternity in Ireland and see how things lie over there.
How are you all doing, guys? And thanks so much for welcoming me in to your evening.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming.
Cheers, Mark. Mark, would you do us a favour and introduce everybody?
Right, so Terry O'Reilly, one of the more seasoned campaigners of sidecars in this country. Terry, you're at it with 75 years odd. Number of TTs, back to TT next year.
Good man.
Former Irish champion.
F1, F2, Terry?
Well, just obviously F2, just for
At the moment.
competing at the TT.
Would you campaign both?
Yeah.
Darren Dwyer, my driver. Relatively new to it.
Darren's right up for it.
Oh yeah.
So F1, F2, Darren?
F1.
F1. Right. Mark, who?
Can't
Gash.
remember. Mark Gash. Not around the paddock with a while now.
Yep.
Teamed up with Darren a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Having good fun.
Cool.
A couple of 2 or 3 second places in the championship now in the last number of years.
World famous, as I understand it.
It's a stretch of the
At least
imagination.
That's what I've been told.
More
I would've
infamous
said
than
infamous,
famous.
yeah.
Dylan Lynch, probably the most successful sidecar driver the country has produced.
Absolutely.
Right.
Had the privilege of passengering him a number of years ago. Aaron, his passenger beside him.
I'm a junk.
Good evening.
Got Derek Lynch, Dylan's brother, former passenger, now driver, former Irish champion in both, third this year, and Anthony MacDonald, Derek's passenger.
Cool. Right. How popular is F1 or F2 sidecars in Ireland?
If you're
So you run mostly F1s?
F1s, yeah.
Right. But then you do, when it's called TT time.
Yeah, then obviously that's where the F2s normally come into play, like in
Yeah.
the night.
So you might usually have 2 or 3 F2s at the most, usually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any given
I
year.
think this year we had
This is the
probably
most.
the better season for the F2s. Like
4
five,
plus,
was
5
it
at
4
one
or 5?
stage, yeah.
So the F2s are picking up now recently, so.
Can I
And
show-
again, that's driven by lads looking to do roads.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly,
like,
yeah.
Obviously, there's no sidecar racing on the roads in Ireland anymore.
The only reason you ride an F2 is because you want to do TT.
Yeah.
Sort of
That's
around, yeah.
pretty much the same in England. But there's an awful, what I find in England is almost like a north-south divide. In north of Derbyshire, everybody has an F2. Anything down south, everybody has an F1. And it's pretty much what you guys said.
A lot of that, I would say, Mark, as well, is the population of sidecar racers across the water, and we don't have the population here to split the class between F1s and F2s.
So do you have a big grid?
It's been growing. It's been growing.
Right.
There's a lot of effort put in a number of years ago.
Depends on the weekend. It can be anything up to 16, 17 bikes.
16's a good
But
grid.
then it can be low as well.
Well, I think
Depends
we had
on.
19 different point scorers this year, didn't we?
I know, but it depends on. It really depends on the weekend or who
Right.
wants to show up or racing. Really,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
as simple as that. Really.
Does the sport get any media recognition in Ireland?
Hopefully it will now that you're here, Mark.
No pressure.
Not enough, anyway.
Not enough, and I think it's a general consensus with sidecars, regardless of where you are in the world, we are a little bit looked upon as the poor relation.
I think media down in the Southern Ireland particularly is just bad in motorsport in general. Even the
Really?
superbikes. You have the top few, all right, that do well. But then when you're dropping out the top 3 or 4, and even in the superbikes, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know a lot of them. But
Right.
up the north now, if you go in Northern Ireland, it's a bit more popular.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot more motorsport interest up there, like, as opposed to down south.
The funny thing is we don't get the publicity we think we deserve. Well, we're going to be biased anyway. Yet when you go to a race weekend, everyone will watch the superbikes, everyone will watch the super sports. They'll all come out to watch the sidecars.
Yeah.
They mightn't watch the twins and they won't watch the 400s or the classic superbikes. But when it comes to the sidecars, everybody will come out and watch them. So it's a bit of an anomaly, the fact that we don't get the publicity, yet it's probably one of the most interesting classes and the most supported classes in one way by people, actually spectators.
Some of the best racing.
Some of the best racing, yeah.
Closer to the truth.
At the end of a weekend, we're the talk of the paddock for the racing that we've put on.
Not for good reason, sometimes.
All the right reasons, I hope.
Mixed reasons.
Most of the UK F2 teams aspire to race at the I.S.A.M TT. Is that basically the same case? I think you answered this already, but I'll ask the question. Is that the same case in Ireland?
I think so,
Yeah, 100%. The
100%.
only reason to have the F2 really is if you're doing the roads or the Isle of Man.
Ourselves,
Like-
we raced the F1 for 4 years now.
4 years, yeah. But
Yeah.
over here, we run the open class, so the F2s, they're not really competitive with the F1s. So you're not going to run one in the championship unless you're planning to do the roads or the TT, you know.
Yeah. Avon Tyres have announced they're not going to make tyres for sidecars in the very near future. Will that affect the
As far
Irish
as I know, the
grid?
quota is still covered for 2023. They basically still have stock there and are going to keep producing it until the end of 2023. And I
Right.
think Goodyear is taking over. Now, I
Goodyear?
don't know if they're going to run the motorsport facilities or whether they're just taking over the actual tyres, but
Right.
it's not going to be an issue till 2024, I believe, anyway.
I also have a theory that there has to be tyres out there that are suitable, but because we have the comfort, the backup from Avon, that's what we use.
Yeah.
But there has to be car tyres out there, single-seater car tyres that are potentially even better, but nobody's ever bothered looking at them because Avon is what everyone has used. You've got the backup in the races.
I know there was testing done with Michelin and there was a bit of feedback given, but I don't know if they're actually producing any tyres.
Reeves-
Because even at the time, like Yokohama was actually, Yokohama would have been
Yokohama's
the
gone.
weapon of choice, though. There wasn't.
You had the two of them. You would have had the two of them fighting, wouldn't you? At that time,
Yeah.
you would have had Avon or Yokohama.
And then
LCR seems to be the most popular frame or chassis used in the UK. Is that the same case over here, or is there any chassis builders like Tony Baker over here?
Myself and Darren are using a Baker.
Right.
We're on our second Baker now for next year.
it actually should be looked into. The thought about before with Tony Baker's chassis, especially with Dylan. Dylan won phenomenal amount of championships, like on the Baker.
Yeah.
But the Baker chassis it'd be an interesting stat to find out how many Irish Northern Championships that Tony Baker's chassis actually won in Ireland. It's
Really?
phenomenal. Like,
He well more than LCR anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you know,
So
like-
it would be more LCRs or would it be more Tony
The
Baker?
LCRs only have come over here in the last
Yeah, it's probably
since 2000.
Dip along the minute.
Yeah.
There's very few LCRs in this country really over the
So the
years.
preferred one would be
the state
Like,
chassis. Yeah,
it's probably
yeah,
like the first kind of couple of LCRs came into it would have been. Well, we would have had the likes of
John Clark.
John Clark,
Willie Moore.
Willie Moore Racing would have had that LCR.
Right.
Pierre O'Neill started. You know, the bikes that started coming into. I have an LCR.
It was on a window.
Here's one for you. I don't know if you probably have, but have you seen any of the virtuals? Have you seen their special super duper ones?
Yeah, it's a bit of an unusual piece of kit.
What did you think of it? What does anybody think of it?
Look, it's an engineering masterpiece. It's stunning. And,
Controversial?
I think for a class, it's not good for a class to have a bike that's that revolutionary. It's such a step ahead of what everybody else is using.
Yeah.
Fair play. It's a fantastic piece of engineering, and it's proven.
Is
But
it available to buy though?
You see, this is the thing. It's not.
But is it that much? Like if you think about like the likes of Nick Crow, back in 2007 or 8, he was doing 116 around Mondello or around the island without all these gizmos.
Yeah.
You know, and like the boys have moved on a little bit, but it's taken them like this long to get there. Like
Yeah,
the track has changed and it's smoothing out a wee bit, I'd imagine.
And that corner there after guiding the bar, that's a 6-gear corner. It used to be a fucking second gear.
Brand.
Yeah.
Or you know, and they're riding the bikes, and the boys weigh nothing as well, like, which makes a big difference to them. Like the two Birches weigh the same weight as me, like you know. So I mean, that has to add into it.
There is talk for 2024. There is rumour that there's possibility going
Standard engine.
going back to
I've heard something kind of similar.
because
that there's
the gearbox thing is the big thing.
Yeah,
like,
they have the 8-speed gearbox.
7-8 speed gearboxes.
That's patented, so you can't build that in the same as it. Like, you know.
Right.
The problem with when you've got something like this,
Are Nova not doing the 7-speed box?
and but it's when you've got a $100,000 bike, it takes the possibility of any of us doing anything bar than okay for ourselves.
But surely that works out the same as people tuning engines, that people don't have money to tune engines. It's the same thing, really.
It does it, but it's such a step ahead of what everybody else has.
Well, it's only a little step
that's
ahead.
that's
Like
in
some
all
Reeves,
forms
they're
of
all tuning
motorsport.
their engines to the neck. But then, alright, they're a little bit of a step ahead of Reeves maybe, but Reeves carrying more weight. You know what I mean? It has to all add up. Like, it's all
It
these
all,
little
yeah.
things adding a little bit. But then you look at the Crow brothers, they were on it. They weren't a million miles off them.
No.
And they were on the Triumph, I think, which was, they should have got a medal for that on its own.
And I know of only one race circuit in Southern Ireland, Mondello Park. Is there any others that I don't know of? Now I know we kind of covered this earlier. Is
No.
there any others?
No, not that would cater for the
So, do you guys race on the roads over here?
no.
No, not
Right. So how does your championship?
Now
Work out.
there is two tracks that currently use in the north of Ireland.
So you go north
Bishop's Court and
with your
Kerry.
championship as well?
Yeah.
So do you run, is Mondello configurable so you can race it a different way or?
No, there's 2 tracks in Mondello.
There's 2 circuits
Yeah,
on Mondello?
there's 2 circuits.
Right.
There's the international and then there's the national. The
So it's a
national
little bit
is-
like brands where you have
Very
the
similar
Indy
to brands
Yeah,
where
the Indy,
you've got the
yeah.
loop.
Very,
So
very
you
similar.
race that as 2 different brands?
Yeah,
They,
so
they alternate it, so every time we're there, one weekend we'll do the national, then the following it'll be the international, and then back to the national. So
Right.
and then so we actually have 2 separate championships. We've got a Southern Championship, which is run around the 2 different tracks in Mondello. We've a Northern Championship, which is run between Kirkestown and Bishop's Court.
Right.
And what we as a club then is we combine the points of those to create our national championship.
Right.
So it's an all in Ireland championship, really.
Yeah, yeah. Right. So how many rounds is there in your championship?
We're up at double figures, are we, too?
Well, it depends on the year. The last few years have been obviously dodgy with COVID and all that. Like, you know, the northern rounds haven't been fast and furious, I suppose, but we've always had kind of 6 rounds, 7 rounds in
6.
Mondello.
Right.
And then you usually have about 5 meetings up the north as well. But
Okay.
you know, given COVID and all, things are a bit slow getting back on the road
Yeah,
up the
yeah.
north. So this year I think there was only a couple of rounds.
Right.
But they work out as 2-day events, like, so you'd have
Right.
extra races rather than 1 day. So in Mondello, 2 days in Mondello with 3 races.
Cool. What makes someone want to be a passenger?
I started off racing motorbikes.
Solos.
Yeah, solo bikes. I started off with a 125 Aprilia. I raced them for a couple of years and went to 600 and raced it for I think a year and a half, and then I just kind of met most people here. He's not here at the minute, but I think I made friends with Joseph Newton, and him and his father raced together, and I just kind of started palling around when we were together in the paddock. And there was he's done the parade things on a certain weekend. They do a parade lap. People can come along.
Yeah, yeah.
Passengers anyway, not drivers.
Yeah, yeah.
Just hand the bikes to somebody and drive them, but you pay a fee or whatever, and you get a couple of laps on the track.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, this is different. Fair enough.
So you
We'll give
quite
this a
liked
go.
it?
Yeah, I loved it. I fell in love with it pretty much straight away.
Wow.
And one of the lads, Fergie Woodlock, told me, I'll never forget the words he told me, it's the best fun you can have with your clothes on. And anybody asks me, that's what I say. It really is. There's nothing like it. There really isn't. It's deadly. I was racing bikes at the time. I had a bit of misfortune with bikes, crashed with 1 or 2 of them, and a few other things. And I just stayed with sidecars, really. I haven't had the opportunity. The difference between passenger and driving is I'm not going to.
Have you tried driving?
I have had a few laps around Mondello, but not competed. I haven't done any races driving. I've only ever
Did
passed.
you think you could get on with it, or did you still fancy better off passenger?
I'd say a few practice laps maybe I get the hang of it. I'd say.
Tell the truth.
What's your name? A few
So
practice
hang
laps
on,
at least.
did you 2 swap?
we did
Or
for
would you 2 swap?
we did for one session, but
You couldn't hang it.
there was a piece of rubber or something came down. I've still more trophies than you.
You're making more.
Passenger.
You're making more
That's
excuses.
because you're older.
There was a piece of padding. I don't know where it came from, but it basically came down and blocked the handhold, so I couldn't get my hand into it. So
You said that when you fell out
unfortunately,
with
the
me.
session was. Huh?
You said that when you fell out as well.
You're going to have to come up with a new
you were-
I
excuse.
fell out with you because it was on the roof.
It wasn't on its roof.
It was on the roof.
I finished the race.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
He passed us, and you did as well, but you were on the
Oh,
tarmac.
this was a different time. Yeah.
We,
you're a
I'd
driver?
say,
He's a driver now.
rash.
I'm a driver now.
And what inspired you to start driving?
Got too much
I
ball.
kept falling out as a
If
passenger.
you were on the back
So
of the
you
Dylan.
were a passenger originally?
Yeah, I did passenger Dylan for a couple of years.
Right.
Irish chap.
Was Dylan kind of, was he pushing you off?
No.
No, you were just falling off.
You know, he did win
he was
a
very
couple
quick.
of championships on first.
Right.
I won a lot more races than I fell off with him, in fairness. No, we won I think I won 2 national championships with him, and it kind of just got to the stage then where I wanted to start driving, and Scobie Clock had his bike for sale, so I bought that one and went driving.
So how long have you been driving? How many years?
I think we were to start driving about 2013.
Right.
And then the first few years I had a bit bad luck off the track. I fell off a mezzanine floor the first year and shattered my wrist, so I missed half of that year. Then the following year I got a smack of a car and missed half that year. So after that I stopped going out in February.
So are you two planning to do the I.S.A.M?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the plan.
You
Yeah.
are?
Plan is
Next year?
Yeah.
Next year, yeah.
Right, cool. What about you? What inspired you to get into three-wheel, into sidecars?
Someone has.
Aaron does come from a dynasty of
Really?
cars.
Okay. I've had this a lot with the guys in England. There's been a generational thing. So you come from a family of...
Born into it.
Born into it.
Born into it.
So you were in the paddock.
And I got back on with the man here, like this man here, then just went won everything. You know what I mean? But I was a good driver at my time.
And Aaron's obviously his father would have been one of would have introduced the sport sidecars to Ireland. Like,
Really?
Would that be true? Would he be one of the
One of the founders.
his two brothers race rode, his
that's not
sister
it.
rode.
The Ireland man as well.
Yeah, we've won the Ireland run a few times there.
Okay.
First TT replica,
I finished 11th in the T2.
Right.
fastest
I
ever.
had a few failures on it. You know, I have to admit, like, you know, more failures than success, but you got 11th in a replica anyway, so that's half
Brilliant.
the battle, isn't it?
So what inspired you? I know I jumped forward out of that one, but what inspired you to get onto three wheels?
Basically, Galligan's really.
Really?
I was kind of hanging around with him a bit, and I was going to race solos. My father raced solos, and he says, "Why don't you race sidecars?" And I was sure. It's just Silver Society
And
about
it was as
racing.
easy as that. You just thought,
No, I'm very easily led.
He's always
No
been
drink
laid
involved.
back like
No
that.
drink involved.
How many championships have you won, Dylan?
I think it's 13.
13.
really?
Yeah.
Irish ones.
Irish. Yeah.
Wow. And is that up north and down south? Or
Overall.
Oh, no,
combined?
Overall, yeah.
Like,
13.
if you were counting all the championships, it'd be over the 20s.
We've a lot of championships over here. If you counted them all, like,
No,
Right.
you just can't national.
the nationals have 14, about 14 of them.
Some go.
Right. Mark?
I was always following solo bikes. Never raced solo bikes at any level or any success.
So you're an avid kind of go along and watch? Or
Yeah, and I was where I come from at home in Cork would be a fairly strong motorbike area. There would have been a good few good solo bike races. So I grew up watching road bikes, watching guys racing on the roads. Moved to Scotland a long time ago and ended up working on a job with a Scottish man called Davy Annan, and just got chatting, and he said he wanted to run in an engine. Would I be around on the weekend to sit in the back? I didn't even know what a sidecar was. Went down, first track I ever drove around was East Fortune, just literally sitting in the middle, and I kind of thought, yeah, this is a bit of fun. Did a couple of bits and pieces over there, just the odd track day, and kind of running stuff in with guys. Came back here, started spannering for a couple of solo blokes at home, a couple of mates of mine. Ended up spending a lot of time in Mondello, got chatting with the likes of Dylan, and yeah, got in the back, and I've been at it now with a good while.
Wow. How long, Mark? When did you start?
Must be, I'd say I'm probably about 10 years at it now.
10 years.
Yeah, I started off with Sam
I don't know
Wright.
what you're doing now.
I
I
wouldn't
don't know,
say
I would say that. I passengered for a guy at home called Sam Wright, passenger with Derek, won a championship with Dylan. Jumped on with this man, passenger you as well, Terry. Gallo, you need to get a bike so I can jump on the back for you.
It's kind of passion, everybody really.
He gets around a bit.
What inspired you to get into three wheels?
Back probably when I was probably I suppose 8, 9, 10. My father used to bring me to a local race which was 4 road racing, and he used to race sidecars back then.
Yeah.
I just always remember sitting up on the hill watching the sidecars, and then started racing solos then for a few years, but I'd always go and watch the sidecars. Just one race I'd watched the weekend, and just was always mad to get spinning one and got spinning the back one, and then on the bike.
So you jumped on the platform?
Yeah.
Right.
And
like this man.
Like that, and just got spin driving one then and just took a liking to it. So.
Brilliant. Cool. And are you two tempted to do the Isle of Man at any point?
I'm back to the Isle of Man again for 23 with
You're
Bruce.
back on
with Bruce Moore this year.
Bruce Moore. Yeah.
So Darren's sticking to the short circuit with the long bike.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing everything here with Darren and across the water then with Bruce a bit.
You ever tempted to do the Isle of Man?
Not so much the Isle of Man. No, I'd love to do the Southern maybe. I like.
Southern's a good
I like
track.
chasing, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to the bar, Jamie?
Want me to go to the bar?
We're nearly done. Go on in. Hit me. What's your story?
Oh, just
What inspired you to get on the three wheels?
just something different, I suppose. And
See, you're quite tall. I mean, Lee Crawford and myself, you must be nearly my height.
was about 6'2", yeah.
You haven't shrunk, have you? You haven't shrunk.
You driving?
Yeah. Just I don't know, just in Mondello in the bar one day, and on my way home I ended up going to Blanchardstown to your dad's garage, and while
your family are responsible for all
intoxicated,
that.
they have a lot to answer for.
We do.
Just like woke up the next morning and realised I bought a sidecar. And
How did that happen? Did you have a nearest and dearest to try and explain that to?
Not really, because you bought a lot of them since.
That was the least thing that he had to explain, tell you the truth.
Just love, I suppose, just the uniqueness of them, the difference. It's just they're out on their own, like, you know. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm kind of done. I'm out of questions. Thanks ever so much for your time, guys.
Thank you.
We're all happy with that.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
The Big Shanahan Trophy is Derek Lynch and Anthony McDonald. And in second place, Darren Dwyer and Mark Gash. Again, they've got a path worn up to us here. The winners of the Mick Shanahan, the national trophy in this country, Dylan Lynch and Aaron Gallagher.
If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you haven't liked this video, please feel free to leave a thumbs down. Don't forget to subscribe, ding dong the notification bell, and I shall see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.